Want the truth? Visceral fat, the stuff wrapped around your organs that slowly strangles your health from the inside out, doesn't care how motivated you feel today. It doesn't vanish because you watched a fitness reel. It doesn't burn because you drank a detox tea or bought a fancy smart scale. Visceral fat is stubborn, dangerous, and it feeds on your bad habits like fuel. And unless you fix those habits, you'll stay fat, not because you're doomed, not because your metabolism is broken, but because deep down, you haven't been ruthless enough to fix what you keep excusing. Let's be clear. Visceral fat is not just about looks. It's about high blood pressure, insulin resistance, inflammation, low energy, heart risk, and slow death in disguise. So if you're serious about living lean, living long, and living strong, then it's time to clean house. 6 habits, 6 anchors weighing down your transformation. They're not a punishment. They're a receipt. A body doesn't lie. It doesn't care what you meant to do. It only responds to what you consistently did. Every inch of visceral fat wrapped around your gut is a physical report card, not of effort, but of structure, not of dreams, but of patterns. And if you're still clinging to the idea that good intentions count for something in the realm of fat loss, you're already losing. Wishing for results is a fantasy. Acting with discipline is the currency. You can't visualize your way out of visceral fat. You can't manifest it away. You have to earn your way out. And the price is paid daily, not with feelings, but with follow-through. Not with hope, but with habit. You wake up tired because you ignored sleep again. That wasn't an accident. That was a decision. You grab the cereal instead of making eggs because it's easier. Another choice. You skipped the walk because work was stressful. That's not fate. It's permission. All these seemingly small moments collect interest. They build up over time and become visible as inches around your waist, as fatigue in your brain, as stiffness in your joints, as frustration in your clothes. And still, people act surprised, as if fat shows up like a thief in the night. It doesn't. It's invited, enabled, fed. You want to change? Start admitting that what you do in private shows in public. That just one night of overeating turned into a weekend. That "I'll start Monday" has been your anthem for 3 years. That "I'll be better tomorrow" is just another lie in the queue. That's the difference between those who change and those who circle the drain forever. Accountability. You don't get to keep treating food like therapy and act shocked when your waistline reflects it. You don't get to call walking to the fridge activity and expect your metabolism to keep firing. Visceral fat accumulates when your body realizes you're not serious. When your hormones scream for movement, nutrition, rest, and you silence them with shortcuts. You're not fooling your biology with intentions. It only listens to action, and it's ruthless. That's the truth. Your body doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care if you had a hard day. It's reacting to calories consumed and calories burned. It's reacting to stress, sleep, movement, fiber, protein. There's no sympathy in physiology, only response. You want it to respond better? Give it better inputs. People say, "I just want to feel better." But they never stop doing the things that make them feel like garbage. You stay up late, doom scrolling. You eat ultra-processed garbage that spikes insulin, inflames your gut, and crashes your energy. You live in a cycle of stimulants in the morning and sedatives at night. You never stop to ask, who built this system I'm trapped in? The answer's brutal. You did. And if you built it, you can break it. But you have to stop telling yourself that your life is happening to you. It's not. It's happening because of you. You can't train your way out of a garbage diet. You can't out-supplement a broken routine. You can't keep pretending that buying workout gear or watching motivational videos counts as effort. None of that burns visceral fat. Sweat does. Structure does. Repetition does. You're not on the edge of transformation. You're buried under layers of your own hesitation. Your best self isn't waiting to be discovered. It's waiting to be constructed. Brick by brick, behavior by behavior. What you allow becomes what you become. Every excuse reinforces your current identity. Every shortcut you take becomes a permanent detour away from the results you claim to want. Every time you let comfort win, you teach yourself that quitting is acceptable. That's how you train weakness into your character. You don't just eat bad food, you absorb weak thinking. You don't just skip workouts, you shrink your standards. That's how visceral fat becomes more than physical. It becomes psychological. You start identifying as big-boned, just thick, or someone who struggles. You stop aiming higher. You start protecting the problem. That's how mediocrity becomes permanent. The hard truth? There is no magic workout, no secret supplement, no guru with the missing link. The only thing standing between you and the body you want is your ability to execute boring basics consistently. That's what works. Sleep, protein, water, strength training, walking, fiber. Every day. No skipping, no negotiating. You build a body of steel with routines of iron. Anything less, and you get what you've always gotten. Softness. You say you're stuck, but you're not stuck. You're undisciplined. There's a difference. Stuck implies you're trying your hardest with no way forward. Undisciplined means you haven't even been honest about your effort. You scroll instead of prep. You snooze instead of sweat. You snack instead of hydrate. Don't call that stuck. Call it what it is. Comfortable in failure. Comfort is the enemy. Comfort makes you forget what pain feels like. Comfort breeds apathy. It makes you tolerant of mediocrity. And the body adapts to comfort like clay molds to shape. You sit all day, your posture collapses. You don't lift, your muscle vanishes. You eat trash, your inflammation skyrockets. You skip sleep, your hormones rebel. The body follows what you repeat, not what you fantasize. You know what makes a difference? Not motivation, not inspiration, not willpower. It's identity. It's waking up and deciding, I am not someone who negotiates with weakness. I am not someone who accepts decay. I am not someone who outsources my responsibility. Your habits have to come from a place of identity, not from pressure. Until you believe you are someone who eats clean, lifts heavy, rests deeply, walks daily, you'll keep rebounding. The guy who tracks his meals doesn't try to stay on plan. It's who he is. The woman who trains 5 times a week isn't finding time. She's already made it. The people who win don't do it because they're better. They do it because their baseline is built around standards that most people aren't willing to adopt. That's the cost. Results are expensive. Not in dollars, but in discomfort. In repetition, in saying no when it's easier to say yes. This is where most people break. They chase feeling good instead of being better. They want 6-pack abs, but eat like it's always their birthday. They want to be lean, but train like tourists in the gym. They want clarity, but consume chaos. They want change, but hate friction. You don't get to keep all your old habits and expect a new body to arrive. Change isn't about adding more on top. It's about removing what no longer serves your evolution. You've built this version of yourself, brick by brick. Through every excuse, every skipped rep, every mindless snack. But the good news? You can unbuild it. You can deconstruct the person who let fat win. You can bury the person who justified weakness. You can replace each brick with better bricks. Discipline, movement, nutrition, structure, recovery. But it won't happen accidentally. You need intention. You need aggression. You need obsession. Visceral fat won't leave politely. It won't go away because you bought a salad today. It doesn't respond to good days. It responds to good decades. The people who win don't have superhuman genetics. They just got tired of losing. They got fed up with starting over. They realized no one was coming to save them, and they acted accordingly. Stop looking for hacks. Stop chasing easy. If you're tired of the body you're in, prove it. Through behavior, through consistency, through discipline. Visceral fat is a signal. It's your body screaming, I need better. Give it better. Not next week. Now. You're not a victim of fat. You're the architect of it. You're not cursed. You're just casual. And you can flip the script the moment you stop treating fat loss like a hobby and start treating it like war. One, you fight with forks, feet, and focus. And once you do, the results aren't subtle. They're undeniable. You'll feel it in your joints, in your digestion, in your reflection. You'll wake up with purpose. You'll walk taller. You'll breathe easier. You'll stop being the person who talks about change and finally become the one who embodies it. Your body has been listening this entire time. It has recorded every repeated habit, every late night binge, every skipped session. Every moment of laziness you justified, that's what you're carrying. Not fat, but evidence. And if you want to carry something else, confidence, clarity, control, you need to start writing new evidence because your body is listening today too. What are you telling it now? Every decision going forward contributes either to your dominance or your decay. Biology adjusts rapidly once expectations rise. You've run out of stories, ran out of exceptions, ran out of tomorrows. What's left is execution. Brutal, unflinching, precise execution. Not motivation, not hype, just cold, methodical repetition that leaves no room for softness. Results obey precision. Fat accumulates when systems collapse. Not because will fades, but because detail dies. Energy balance isn't theory, it's mathematics. People who evolve physically don't stumble into victory. They engineer it. They program schedules, install accountability, remove variables. They calculate rather than guess. They measure rather than hope. They treat every meal, rep, and hour as data points, not emotional negotiations. You've been pretending randomness could produce definition. You've mistaken intention for structure. No more. The margin for error is gone. Every calorie undocumented is a trap. Every movement skipped is regression. Every bite rationalized is stagnation. You don't lose internal abdominal mass by feeling inspired. You eliminate it through measurable adherence. Precision doesn't care how enthusiastic you feel. It only tracks consistency. People worship intensity but disregard exactness. The truth is, transformation demands ruthless discipline in the mundane. Correct macronutrients, specific timing, strategically spaced meals, hydration milestones, regular bodily feedback. None of this is glamorous, but this is how dominators build. This is the terrain where excellence grows. Repetition under control, repeated over time. The undisciplined chase hacks. They pile supplements, switch routines weekly, binge watch influencers for miracles. Meanwhile, high performers refine rituals. They don't fluctuate, they execute. They aren't louder, they're sharper. They don't rely on adrenaline, they lean on systems. Precision strips away ego. It forces honesty. It isolates weak points, exposes blind spots, forces you to refine. Success becomes inevitable when variables are controlled. You don't wander toward greatness, you architect it. You don't eyeball your portions and expect shredded outcomes. You don't go by feel and hope for metabolic shifts. You weigh, you log, you review, you adjust. You treat your physique like an experiment, not a hobby. Most fail not from lack of knowledge, but from chaos. Undocumented eating patterns, sporadic rest cycles, inconsistent effort. That's not a plan. That's delusion. Victories belong to those who out-strategize complacency. You can't outlift a sloppy diet. You can't out-cardio poor compliance. You can't outwork vagueness. Stop romanticizing the grind and start respecting execution. Anyone can train until they sweat. Very few can replicate accurate, goal-aligned routines without compromise. Adherence beats excitement. Specificity crushes passion. The gym doesn't reward how hard you try. It rewards how precisely you hit targets. Look at champions, those who maintain elite conditions year-round. What separates them isn't superior genetics. It's their unwillingness to compromise standards. They treat their habits like contracts. No deviation, no emotional volatility. They don't eat emotionally. They don't justify missed sessions. They don't let feelings disrupt fundamentals. Precision makes mediocrity uncomfortable. It exposes shortcuts. It demands tracking. It demands accuracy. It demands clarity. No guesswork, no assumptions, no "I think I'm doing okay." You either meet the protocol or you don't. This binary thinking doesn't leave room for excuse. It enforces performance. If you can't say with certainty how many grams of protein you consume today, you're not serious. If you can't describe your last 3 training sessions with detail, you're not committed. If your current strategy relies on remembering what you felt like eating, you're not even close. The difference between transformation and stagnation is in the decimals. Those who endure don't leave anything to chance. They don't let hunger dictate behavior. They don't chase dopamine through food. They plan. They prepare. They prevent decision fatigue by eliminating decisions entirely. Their environment supports the outcome because they engineered it that way. You're not going to get lean by impulse. You're not going to correct years of accumulation through enthusiasm. Every molecule of stored mass must be replaced with meticulous, intentional processes. Each gram gone is evidence of thousands of accurate microchoices. Each new line etched across your midsection represents protocol, not luck. The reason most never arrive is because they fear accountability. They'd rather blame slow progress on metabolism than admit their measurements were off. They'd rather accuse stress than confront the fact they haven't tracked meals in months. Precision removes denial. It places all responsibility on your shoulders. That's where it belongs. You don't need permission. You need structure. You don't need inspiration. You need order. You don't need new supplements. You need the truth. Are you doing what needs to be done daily? Or are you doing what you feel like doing? There's no badge for effort, only outcomes. You don't earn respect for trying. You earn it for executing. You can struggle in silence and still fail if you refuse to confront the messiness of your own inconsistency. Nobody's watching your journey as closely as you imagine. So if you're doing this for attention, you've already lost. The greatest transformations aren't public. They're private. Hidden in disciplined habits, you quiet measuring, quiet meal prepping, quiet training when it's inconvenient, quiet improvement until the noise of results becomes undeniable. Silence the urge for shortcuts. End the search for magical answers. Lock onto the details. Become obsessive about your inputs, because every day you spend living imprecisely is another day visceral tissue wins. It thrives on your lack of clarity. It grows where you refuse to track. It accumulates when you refuse to own every variable. The moment you align every behavior with your objective, change accelerates. No more hoping, no more winging it, no more half measures. You hit macros, you drink calculated fluids, you plan exertion, you build a rhythm, and you stick to it until the old version of you can't survive in your new operating system. Precision demands maturity. It kills fantasy. It exposes how casual your approach has been. Once you see how much you've been guessing, everything becomes clear. That's when you start making moves instead of excuses. The body obeys certainty. Input determines outcome. The tighter your system, the faster your correction. You want shredded outcomes? Become shredded. You want dramatic results? Become a machine. Build habits so exact they're immune to fatigue. Construct a lifestyle that doesn't require discipline. It becomes discipline. This isn't optional. This isn't advanced. This is the baseline. Until precision becomes your baseline, transformation remains distant. You don't rise to your intentions. You fall to your routines. So if your routines aren't sharp, expect softness. If your routines aren't flawless, expect stagnation. Precision over passion. That's the shift. Love your future self enough to deny your present cravings. Respect your mission enough to demand precision. Craft a daily architecture so tight it crushes drift before it begins. Most are operating with broken blueprints. Their structure leaks everywhere. Meals skipped, sessions missed, emotions driving food intake. Weekend chaos, sleep variability. That's not ambition. That's fantasy wearing discipline's clothes. Your plan should be bulletproof. You shouldn't be guessing anything. Every variable should be accounted for. Remove the randomness. Precision suffocates excuses. It makes deviation obvious. You can't hide from yourself when everything's measured. This is war, not with the world, but with your past. And to win, you must be sharper than the patterns that built your current state. You must surpass the autopilot that defaulted to pleasure, comfort, convenience. You must reprogram how you operate. That takes more than hustle. That takes surgical control. It takes owning every movement, every bite, every thought. That's how you delete visceral buildup. Through unwavering execution, through exact replication, through controlled intensity. You aren't aiming for average. You aren't flirting with progress. You're burning down every weak protocol you ever tolerated and rebuilding from scratch, flawless, exact, and you don't stop. Not until every layer of unnecessary mass is stripped and every excuse destroyed in the process. This is about becoming undeniable. And that starts by becoming unbreakable. Not through effort, but through precision. Clockwork consistency trumps fleeting intentions. Actions sculpt identity, not imagination. The process rejects shortcuts. You'll either align behaviors with the demand, or you'll serve regret. There's no middle. Momentum doesn't emerge from emotion. It's summoned through unwavering ritual. Physical alteration unfolds within cycles repeated ad nauseum, devoid of inspiration, immune to laziness, governed solely by conviction. Success resides in non-negotiable discipline. You can't hope your way leaner. You must execute daily with robotic certainty. Gut accumulation isn't mysterious. It's predictable, patterned, and merciless toward hesitation. Change favors those unwilling to compromise even slightly. Not only what gets performed matters, but how often, how well, and how reliably. Mastery isn't achieved through variety. It's achieved through unrelenting duplication of deliberate strength. You've coasted long enough. That casual pace gave comfort, not advancement. Truth, physical decay wasn't an accident. It was permitted. Erosion follows apathy. You don't shed density by accident. You must forcibly confront the mindsets allowing drift. This isn't about motivation. It's about nonstop confrontation with internal weakness. The mirror won't lie. No one is coming to rescue you. No plan rescues itself. Only reps, meal accuracy, rest optimization, and intentional stress exposure reset your condition. Forget hoping things improve on their own. Outcomes derive directly from effort integrity. Sleep late, compound softness. Ignore recovery, multiply stagnation. Miss movement targets, amplify storage. Consistently deferring priorities signals surrender. Repetitive self-sabotage becomes default. Unless intercepted early, those craving transformation must shut the door on old tendencies. The shift isn't slight, it's total, tectonic, irreversible. Every win begins the same. A refusal. Refusal to delay. Refusal to indulge. Refusal to listen to internal bargaining. The dialogue ends the moment action begins. You don't negotiate with comfort. You demolish it. The battlefield isn't the treadmill or the dinner plate or the pull-up bar. Is the moment right before you act. Lose there and you spiral backward. Win there and everything downstream shifts. Time doesn't owe you results. Outcomes never arrive through desire alone. Motion drives adaptation. The longer you orbit theory without immersion and discomfort, the longer you remain stuck. You're not lacking opportunity. You're lacking rejection of comfort. You don't become solid by thinking. You become solid by doing. The body reshapes through demand, not desire. Resolve is built under tension. Nothing beautiful emerges from comfort. Nothing sculpted arises from randomness. You can't pray away accumulation. That thick mass didn't appear overnight. It layered silently, decision by decision, indulgence by indulgence, laziness over laziness. Undoing it requires equal precision, but double intensity. You're dismantling years of chaos. That doesn't happen with balanced effort. That happens through unrelenting, purpose-driven execution. Begin where you are, but don't stay there. You must escalate your baseline, raise your effort ceiling, increase your discomfort tolerance, remove idle behaviors, eliminate calorie confusion, discard food rationalization, make each step intentional, or expect failure. This terrain doesn't tolerate softness. Nothing here belongs to the lucky. It belongs to those who built walls against regression. Progress isn't linear. It isn't fun. It rarely feels rewarding in the moment. It's mechanical, methodical, boring even. Yet, the boring work births exceptional conditions. The flash fades, routine remains. Set the bar higher than your ego. Let humility govern each session. Let urgency guide the schedule. Let inner toughness replace outer noise. No more rituals fueled by mood. Real changes outlast cravings. You'll feel like quitting repeatedly. That's fine. Just never comply. Never surrender to tiredness, boredom, hunger, or distraction. These are signals to push harder, not escape. Don't wait for alignment, create it. You don't rise into purpose, you build into it relentlessly. True commitment doesn't waver. You show up regardless. You log your routines regardless. You say no when nobody's watching. You prepare your sustenance before fatigue sets in. You prioritize hydration without reminders. You rewire every default setting that once served stagnation. You aren't doing this part-time. This is all in or not at all. Real change requires full immersion. You must eliminate optionality. The process has no room for maybe. Either your day serves the vision or undermines it. Every choice nudges momentum in one direction. When decisions stack congruently, everything compounds. When they don't, regression accelerates. Momentum favors the meticulous. Delusion is subtle. You'll convince yourself you're close. That proximity becomes a prison. You'll say, I'm better than before, and stop there. But better than before isn't the goal. Excellence is. And excellence demands obliterating every middle ground pattern that permitted mediocrity. You're not entitled to dramatic outcomes without radical behavior shifts. The journey forward requires discarding your former operating system. Old rules, former tendencies, nostalgic foods, emotional coping mechanisms. They don't come with you. They die now. You're not here to maintain. You're here to dominate. The physique doesn't care how hard it feels. It responds to inputs. It changes only under sustained pressure. If you fail to meet requirements, results won't arrive. It's binary, it's brutal, it's fair. Ignore trends, skip magic protocols, ditch biohacks, get grounded in fundamentals, solidify routines, track sleep, adjust fiber, eliminate erratic meal timing, match exertion to intake, maintain intensity across weeks, not hours. Trends distract, principles deliver. You will be tempted constantly. Weakness is always available. Excuses are abundant. Shortcuts are seductive. But you've already seen what they produce. Nothing. Don't relapse into softness disguised as balance. Don't confuse moderation with mediocrity. Comfort kills ambition. Sacrifice must feel heavy. Otherwise, it won't shift your foundation. Forget starting fresh. Forget getting back on track. There is no track. Just forward movement. Slips happen only when discipline is optional. For you, it isn't. You burn bridges to backup plans. You make this path irreversible. That's how fire is lit beneath commitment. That's how transformations cement. You must become unreasonable. Ordinary standards won't suffice. Masses settle, outliers rewrite rules. To reach elite status, you'll need to stop thinking like everybody else. While they sleep, you prep. While they snack, you hydrate. While they scroll, you stretch. While they cheat, you execute. This isn't vanity. This is honor. You are reclaiming control, command, clarity. Nobody will applaud consistency, but the mirror will. Your blood markers will, your energy will, your self-respect will. People won't understand. And they don't need to. This isn't about them. This is about conquering the version of you that permitted decay. Identity doesn't shift through goals. It shifts through action alignment. You don't wake up different. You act different until the world adjusts, until your surroundings echo your new standard, until average becomes impossible to tolerate. Don't ask, how long until I change? Ask, how tightly can I lock into this system until change becomes unavoidable? Commit to the boring stuff. Master the repeatable actions. Refine everything within reach. because that's where transformation breeds. Your future doesn't depend on will, it depends on consistency. You won't get lean once, you'll stay lean daily. That's a different animal. That requires more than intensity. It requires unbreakable structure and impenetrable patterns. Routines become armor. They absorb stress. They resist chaos. They simplify decisions. They create stability inside storms. The better your systems, the fewer moments you need to think. That frees capacity, that multiplies efficiency, that anchors you during mental volatility. This isn't about working harder, it's about building smarter. Strengthen environments, remove friction, curate circles, block temptations, replace unpredictability with automation. You aren't just changing actions, you're upgrading architecture. This is the cost of clarity. The body doesn't negotiate. The price must be paid. In effort, in attention, in friction, in refusal. But once paid, dividends multiply. Confidence returns. Agility increases. Power radiates. You move, breathe, function like someone who earned it. You won't notice it at first. Subtle signs emerge. Waking, energized. Breathing easier. Clothes fitting tighter in all the right places. Skin clearing. Posture straightening. Thoughts sharpening. Those are confirmations. The proof isn't loud, it whispers. You just have to stay awake enough to hear it. Then comes the shift. You stop chasing results and start defending progress. You become a guardian, not a seeker. And from that posture, everything accelerates. This is when others ask what you're taking, when really all you've taken is control. You don't need hacks, you need resolve. You don't need gurus, you need grit. You don't need time, you need repetition. Decide now, stay relentless, watch everything change. Progress becomes permanent only when reinforcement eliminates fallback patterns. Sustainable development rests not on peak moments, but the sustainability of your environment. Everything you're exposed to either reinforces strength or sabotages structure. Your fridge, your social group, your calendar, even your inbox. They're all either allies or liabilities. There's no neutral territory. Either systems support reduction or facilitate relapse. Willpower decays fast without boundaries. Change rooted in discipline fails if your ecosystem still reflects your previous life. It's not about trying harder. It's about constructing surroundings that make excellence inevitable. Remove clutter. Replace triggers. Block access to former crutches. Expecting transformation without intentional design is fantasy. You can't consistently outperform your surroundings. Habits flourish inside supportive routines. Familiarity produces confidence. Predictability nurtures adherence. Once your world reflects your highest standard, behavior naturally aligns. It's not heroic anymore. It's habitual. People underestimate just how much change depends not on effort, but friction management. Every barrier removed, every shortcut sealed off, every routine reinforced makes transformation lighter, not harder. Structure neutralizes excuses. If meals are prearranged, you won't snack impulsively. If sessions are blocked on your calendar, you'll stop skipping them. If your environment reflects ambition, lethargy shrinks. You don't rise through motivation. You reduce chaos until success becomes your default. The fewer random variables, the easier it becomes to stay locked in. Stop trusting fleeting determination. Trust blueprints, trust procedure, trust the engineered layout of your day. People fail not because they're weak, but because their setup demands too much discipline. It's not sustainable to resist all the time, but it's completely manageable when there's nothing to resist. Decision fatigue vanishes when options disappear. Discipline thrives when no alternatives remain. Routines built into your schedule don't depend on mood. They execute themselves. That's freedom. Automation of excellence. You don't need external energy when structure handles direction. When your surroundings demand greatness, laziness evaporates. You don't need to remember what matters. Your framework does that for you. This isn't complicated. Keep your phone out of your meals. Avoid buying junk under the guise of moderation. Prep groceries when energy's high. Schedule workouts before obligations hijack bandwidth. Lay out clothes the night before. Clean your space so fatigue doesn't trigger sloppiness. Review plans every morning. These small tasks form armor. They protect your standards. Consistency collapses when friction multiplies. Delay makes temptation louder. You won't resist long if obstacles outnumber tools. Flip that ratio. Create so much support around your protocol that derailment feels unnatural. It should feel odd not to dominate the day. Default behaviors must be aligned so tightly with your vision that deviating requires conscious rebellion. Change doesn't occur in the big moments. It happens quietly, when you skip late-night browsing, when you brush your teeth before cravings kick in, when you portion servings before hunger rises, when you eat before meetings to prevent emotional grabs. These are micro decisions that accumulate victories. Not flashy, just effective. You don't eliminate old routines, you overwrite them. Empty space gets filled with something. That something better be intentional. Idle time becomes a battlefield. Scroll traps, impulsive eating, and procrastination grow in the cracks left by poor planning. Fill every crack. Dominate your schedule. Decide what happens every hour. Own your agenda, or someone else will. Prioritize environments that reflect your ambition. Set alarms that trigger action, not just reminders. Let lighting, sounds, temperature, all of it support execution. Surround yourself with items that direct focus. Eliminate randomness. Systems reduce friction. Strategy replaces stress. You don't hustle harder, you streamline smarter. Stop hoping for better days, architect them. No one drifts into transformation. You sculpt results with brick by brick design. Think like an engineer, not a romantic. Create pathways that make execution feel inevitable. Automate water intake, schedule steps, pre-log meals, block social distractions. Align every object and task with your objectives. Get serious about who has access to your time. Conversations steal energy. Messages interrupt flow. Notifications destroy rhythm. Cut the noise. Protect your mission like it's sacred. It is. Boundaries give you bandwidth. Clarity emerges when distractions die. You can't fully transform inside chaos. You must guard mental real estate fiercely. If your circle normalizes mediocrity, reshape the circle. Borrowed habits become your own. The people around you influence what feels acceptable. If you're surrounded by comfort seekers, expect regression. Build alliances with those who demand more. Elevation is contagious when surrounded by peak performers. You don't rise above your environment, you become it. Discipline flourishes in conditions where deviation requires effort. You won't binge what isn't available. You won't skip what's scheduled with accountability. You won't waste time when every hour holds purpose. Control doesn't feel heavy once routine carries the load. You conserve mental resources for real challenges, not basic self-maintainment. Don't underestimate your space's power. You behave like your room. You train like your gym. You eat like your pantry. Make these places align with ambition. Remove reminders of old patterns. Stop tolerating symbols of former failures. If it anchors you to your past, it doesn't belong near your future. Purge ruthlessly. Replace deliberately. Sleep deserves just as much planning. Regeneration enables resilience. Rest quality influences appetite, decision-making, endurance, and hormone balance. Your evening must be structured with intention. Blue lights minimized, screens removed, sounds softened, routines locked. End your day with the same purpose that began it. Begin unwinding long before fatigue hits. Efficiency is found in sequence. Prepare everything when motivation's abundant. Make crucial tasks automatic. Turn momentum into maintenance. Remember, delayed decisions become missed ones. If it's not scheduled, it's skipped. If it's not visualized, it's deprioritized. Build repetition into everything. Free will is unreliable. Design is bulletproof. Most aren't failing due to laziness. They're drowning in decision overload. They try to reinvent everything daily. That drains willpower. Meanwhile, high performers repeat. Same meals, same wake up, same movements. That monotony is magic. Every repeated cycle gives back energy. You need bandwidth for growth, not survival. People love novelty, but novelty doesn't produce stability. You aren't trying to be entertained. You're trying to evolve. Stop searching for hacks. Stop chasing new trends. tricks, anchor into repeatable behaviors that become invisible. Once routine, they stop requiring energy. That's when real transformation compounds. Breakthrough isn't about how you feel. It's about what's ready. Are your clothes packed, food measured, calendar protected, distractions muted? If those aren't prepared, you'll stumble. Not because you're weak, but because your system failed. Build strong systems. Make failure difficult. Prepare harder than you perform. Upgrade your identity through infrastructure. Become someone who never forgets a meal, someone whose house reflects ambition, someone whose weekend reinforces standards. You don't just want results. You want to become someone incapable of slipping back. That happens when every environment you operate in reinforces your trajectory. Don't separate life from fitness. They're intertwined. Your pantry reflects your goals. Your desk reflects your planning. Your car reflects your urgency. Wherever you spend time should affirm your identity. Never underestimate what one cleaned drawer, one cleared inbox, one scheduled block can initiate. These are keystone actions that ripple outward. Watch for decay in structure. When you start skipping preparation, chaos isn't far behind. When your mornings lose focus, erosion begins. You must constantly reinforce foundations. Structure isn't set and forget. It requires refreshing, reloading, reasserting. Don't relax once it works. Double down. Protect your mornings. They dictate everything. Your first hour either reinforces identity or blurs it. Wake up with intention. No snoozes, no messages, no randomness. Move your body. Fuel your system. Visualize execution. That first hour is sacred. It's where champions establish command over the rest of their hours. Even leisure needs intention. Downtime isn't weakness. It's necessary. But unstructured leisure becomes distraction. Plan recovery as tightly as performance. Don't let rest become regression. Design your breaks to rejuvenate, not derail. Recreation should support execution, not escape from it. Remember, every element either supports or weakens alignment. It all matters. Background noise. Bubble noise. Bridge content. Friends' habits. Podcast choices. Everything adds up. Your job is reduction, not complication. Strip away everything incompatible. Simplicity sharpens clarity. Ultimately, excellence isn't about dramatic sprints. It's about minimizing resistance so you don't stop. That's the secret. Not just pushing through, but designing around. Not just surviving the hard days, but eliminating the need to fight them. That's sustainability. That's evolution.